English learners, welcome back to our channel Simply English with Priyanka, where we learn English in a very simple way. So guys, today's video is going to be in English as few of our subscribers have asked me to make this particular video in English. So without wasting any time, let's jump into the topic. So guys, today's video is going to be really exciting as I'm gonna share with you my journey of how I started speaking in English. So first of all, let me tell you that I am a student of English medium school. But wait guys, but this doesn't mean that I can speak English well just because I am a student of English medium school. Now you will be confused that what am I saying? Yes guys, this is true. Most of the people have a misunderstanding that if a person has taken his education or pursued his education from English medium school, speaks English really well. But guys, let me tell you that most of my friends who were there with me in English medium school are not able to speak English fluently. Forget about the fluency, they are not able to speak basic English. They try to speak English, but they fumble while speaking it. Now you would think why? So that's what I'm gonna tell you in today's video, that why this happens. And that happened with me too. And how I overcome these things. We are going to discuss the same. So guys, let's see that how I disconnected and again I connected with English. First of all, I'll tell you that how I disconnected with English and how it hampered in my life. Okay. So guys, as I told you that I have done my schooling in English medium school. So guys, when I was in school, I used to speak in English. Not completely in English. You can say 3 languages were being used: Hindi, Marathi and English. Okay. So during that, I was in connection with English in some or other way. From my schooling, I went to the college. Okay. Of course, it was a science faculty, but English was not the priority there. Okay, only in subjects English was there, but in communication there was Hindi or Marathi. So I disconnected with English there. After that, like after 11th and 12th, I went for engineering, and my branch was civil. I did civil engineering. Again, what happened? I remember one of my friends, Fatima. So Fatima and I used to speak in English. Not on a regular basis, but we used to speak English. Means Hindi plus English, like that. So I was in little bit of touch, you can say, okay, but not properly. So guys, after engineering, I got job in government sector. Now guys, what happens when you are in a government sector, and that too in this particular branch in civil, where English is not at all a priority. Most of the people even don't know English. So now you can imagine, when I was doing my job there, I completely disconnected with English, because whatever work I have to do there was in Marathi. The documentation was in Marathi, the reports were in Marathi. So I completely disconnected with English. After that, I got married. After my marriage, I left my job, and so I had a baby as well. And then I decided to look after her completely. And you can say for many years, I wasn't doing anything. In terms of job and education. I was a complete housewife, or you can say a homemaker. I was just looking after my baby. So guys, now if we calculate the years, you can see I was not in touch with English from 2011 to 2017. Now guys, this was a huge gap, and this gap hampered me a lot and a lot. Now I will share you one small experience because of which I was so embarrassed. So what happened guys, one day I went to a mall with my husband. Okay, I was waiting outside for my husband. While waiting for him, one lady approached me and she asked me, could you please tell me where is the food court? So answering that was easy, so I said, yeah, it's up. Okay, so she stopped for a while and she again asked me, could you please tell me where exactly? Now what happened? When I started answering her, like before answering her, I was so confused and I was not able to make a structure in the sense a sentence structure. because now I'll have to answer it properly. Okay, I'll have to tell her the direction, left and right, and so for telling this, I will have to make some sentences, right? So your formation of sentence should be right in this case now. And I know the lady in front of me is a, you know, is a pro speaker in English. So now what happens when a person in front of you is a good speaker? Somewhere you know that if you make a mistake, she's gonna catch it. She's gonna judge you, of course. Most of the people are there to judge you, right? And even if somebody is not judging you, you get conscious, and this is a human tendency. You cannot do anything for that. But what happened when when I started answering, I was fumbling, literally I was fumbling, guys, and it was such an embarrassing moment for me. I can still remember the day. So but still I managed somehow. I told her, like, go up, then turn right and left, whatever it was, I explained her, okay? I told her, anyhow I managed. After coming back home, I was continuously thinking about that moment. That what happened? Why was I not able to answer that lady? Why was I not able to answer a simple question? And guys, afterwards I figured it out that I am disconnected from this language for almost 6 to 7 years. Then how is it possible for me to talk in that particular language all of a sudden? First, I discovered the reason behind that, and then I decided that I will speak in English, okay, every day. Now, I didn't know with whom, but I decided. My daughter was very small, like I think she was just 6 months, something like that. So, of course, 6 months kid do not talk much, okay? They talk very few words. So I started speaking in English with her. My husband is a Marathi medium student, so he speaks English well, but he's not that much fluent, okay? So he thought that whatever problem I have faced in regard with English, she should not, face the same. So what we did, we decided that we will communicate with her in English, in Marathi as well as in English, okay? So we started speaking in English with her. But the English which you communicate with your kids is very basic and simple, okay? But when you have to communicate in English with your friends, with, in short, outside people, or even if you have to give an interview, then what? So I started thinking, like, how should I get connected again with English? And then what happened? My husband and I, we started speaking in English whenever we used to get time and whenever we were comfortable, okay? And then afterwards, as my daughter was growing up, she started speaking English really well, because we started speaking in English at a very early stage, and she got so fluent in English. So now what happened, you can say that on her pretext we started speaking in English, and then she started asking us some questions, we started giving her answers. So in this way I got connected in English again. But that was not enough. So what I did, now I'll give you some tips and tricks which I used, and it really helped me a lot. So the first thing what I used to do, I used to listen to the English podcasts. And why I like listening English podcast? Because see, you can do it even when you're working something. Okay, you just have to put your headphones on, do your work and listen to it. So I used to do that you cannot say that I used to do it on a regular basis, but whenever time permits, I used to do this thing. Okay, this was the first thing I used to do. Second, while scrolling the phone, if I come across an article or something to read, I used to read that. Okay, and while reading that, if I come across a particular word which is difficult for me to understand, I used to write it down in a notebook and I used to find its meaning. Okay, after finding that, I used to use that word in a sentence, and I used to practice that afterwards. And you know what, how I used to practice that? Whenever my husband would come back from office, I would tell him the word, its meaning, and then I used to repeat the sentence in front of him. So guys, what happened because of this? It made easy for me to memorize that word. Okay, now this word and the sentence has fixed in my mind. And guys, third thing, what I used to do, I used to communicate with my daughter. Okay, when she was small, it was one-sided communication, of course, but when she grew up, we both used to communicate in English. So whatever I have to tell her, I used to tell her it in English. So you can say that because of my daughter, I again got connected with English. And when I started speaking in English with her, I realized that I am getting fluent in English. And guys, this did not happen in just a day or two. It took a couple of months for me to get back to the language, to get familiar to it. Guys, when I'm speaking in English in front of the camera, lot of efforts are not required for me to do so. And you know why? Because I speak in English on a daily basis, on a regular basis. So guys, this is the key to learn English. Okay, it doesn't matter from which school you take your education from. The thing is, if you want to learn something, you have to start. Even if you are a student of Marathi medium school, you can speak English really well. I have seen a lot of people who are from Marathi medium and still they speak English really well. Okay, so this thing should not stop you from learning anything, from learning English basically. If you want to speak in English, you will have to start speaking in English. This is the only solution here. So guys, this was my journey. Let me know in the comments, how did you find it? Did you like the video? Was it helpful? If it was so, please like the video, share it with your friends and family, and if you're new on the channel, don't go without subscribing. Then bye bye and take care.